Hello everyone, today is March 19th. Today's topic is devil's scheme. So there is a pattern that devil is using, and they're very sneaky and very subtle. And it's not like they're presenting themselves, I'm your enemy, or I'm your um, mega against evil. But their tactic and their scheme is really subtle and more deceptive. Yeah, the deceptive will be the perfect word. And you may think that, oh, they may smile at you. They may say something very positive words to you, but inside they may think different, right? So it's really hard to discern if you're not really spiritually awakened. So you'll never know. So always the Bible is saying that you need to be always alert and know who is really from God or not, right? So obviously you can tell by their eyes because eyes usually they are the window of one's heart and you can tell whether they're really sincere or not. But so for example, biblical character Samson, he fell in love with one lady and she was attractive. She was using a lot of sweet languages. Everything looked so perfect. So he had that desire to pursue her, and that ended up revealing his superpower. And he shouldn't have really relied on her and really trusted her, but that's why he lost everything, his power. So that comes down to really discerning, even though the word itself is really sweet and attractive. Sometimes the person they can be deceptive, and sometimes it's more of a lure for you to really distracted by those and not fulfill God's purpose. So that pattern, number one, is very subtle, very deceptive, and it's really hard to tell. So you got to be really discerning and spiritually alert whether it's from God or not. That is pattern number one. Number two is also, it is very fleshly. So, for example, the opportunity that came to you can be very lucrative, very perfect. I mean, from the worldly point of view, but maybe that's not what God has set you your path. So it is written that seek his way, lean not on our understanding, right? So we gotta ask before making any decision and saying yes to any opportunity. Not every opportunity is your opportunity. Even though it looks like, wow, this is from the worldly point of view, this is perfect opportunity. It may not be yours because you're not destined for that. And God knows the end, right? And results. So you gotta ask before saying yes to everything. You gotta ask, is this really the right opportunity and right path for me? Like if something is really rushed, obviously that is not from God. And if you feel peaceful and everything really aligns well, and you feel peaceful, then deep down, then yeah, anything rushy, anything really like, yeah, gives you a uneasy, uneased feeling, that's not for you. Obviously, that's not the direction that you would like to pursue. So that is pattern number two. And pattern number three is they know evil spirit, they know your pattern, your vulnerability, and normally they would work through those weak point or vulnerable stage, vulnerability. So think what are your areas of that vulnerable part and because always devils try to work through those vulnerable timing, vulnerable stage. For example, when Jesus needed to be in the desert, fasted for like 40 days, devil tempted Jesus, I'll give you everything, like your title, your status, everything. Bow down to me. Or I'll change this rock to bread and so that you can have it, or something like that. So he was fasting for 40 days, right? And also he's testing his greed, right? The desire, worldly desire. I'll give you everything, right? If you bow down to me. So that comes down to our complete obedience, the worldly things that can easily come and go. However, his will, purpose prevails and that lasts forever. And that is actually our existence, right? I know it's easier said than done, and it requires a lot of maturity and character building because you also should not associate yourself, your identity with your status, right? Because at the end of the day, you may be fired or you may, you know, it doesn't work out because of uncontrollable factors. You'll never know because those things, the worldly things that can come and go. And but your identity in Christ, your identity in Christ, right? So regardless of those external validation, obviously you stand firm, you know who you are in Christ, then nothing matters, right? So once you're in that transcending stage, nothing matters. And even Joyce Meyer, the renowned pastor, well-known pastor ministry, when she was in her like 50s, 60, when she saw her name on the chair or like the office door, she feel like so proud of it, you know. But when she's in her like 70s, almost 80s, like that doesn't really matter, right? As long as you fulfill his purpose. And it's more of a training, right? When God trains you, when God matures your character and your identity in Christ, you would know that even though people may cherish those are like, means what in front of God, right? Nothing. So I think in the end, when you're in that transcending stage, I think you're the winner because you've transcended all. And I think those are the key points that I want to point out and share with you. So think of evil spirit as very subtle, very sneaky, and it's really hard to tell. So you got to be very spiritually alert so that you can have the discernment, right? Number one. Number two, think of your vulnerable part and what are those timing, what are those, so that you know that the devil, evil, cannot use those stage and timing against you. And always ask God's discernment and wisdom so that before making any decision, even though from the worldly point of view that those can be lucrative, those can be like, wow, unbelievable, like opportunity. God knows the end. God knows what that entails. God knows whether that would fulfill the purpose or not. So ask God before making any major decision and have that one-on-one meeting with him. So those are my key points that I want to share with you all. And thank you for taking your time to connect with me. And if you like this episode, please subscribe, share this episode with your friends and family that helps this episode and podcast and YouTube channel. And follow us on Instagram if it will that to you. We love you. God bless you. You're the blessing. And take that crown because you're the head, not the tail. and I hope to connect with you shortly.